What would you think that Michigan needs in the portal? What would you think?
You definitely got to go out and get some receivers, man. You guys are one of those teams that you guys don't really get super active in the portal. When you guys do, you guys normally do come away with at least a receiver or two. The run game is going to be really good for you this year, especially with Edwards coming back. But receiver, you definitely do need a little bit more out of that room, especially with you losing Roman Wilson to the NFL, who was your best receiver last year. That dude was Mr. Reliable for you. Another thing I think that Michigan needs to add defensively, you probably could add some more depth in the secondary. I don't
Bingo.
think it would be too bad to add some more competition there because Mike Sanders still was really underrated. Phenomenal slot corner, great in coverage, great tackler. Having a good slot cornerback is definitely something that is a must if you want to have elite defense at any level, college football or NFL. So it's definitely important that they have some more depth that they bring in from the portal to find who's going to be that next guy up at slot corner.
Yeah, I think right now that's projected to be Jaden McBurrows, who hasn't seen the field much. And then Rod Moore tore his ACL, which absolutely sucks. I mean, he's our best safety. So, yeah, nickelback, slot corner. I'm pretty sure that's a similar position or same position. And then safety. Moore being hurt. Like, I read that and I'm like, okay, we no longer have the best secondary in the country. Like, that sucks. I hope he recovers. We need to get someone in the portal at safety. And then Will Johnson, I think he's the best corner in the country. Might be, probably is the best DB in the country. Outside, well, no, he's a pure corner. I'm gonna go and say he's the best DB right now.
I say best DB. I give it to Caleb Downs.
You know what? I
That dude's
might have,
special.
Yep, I might have to think about. I might have to rethink what I just said. But
He might be the first. He might be the highest safety drafted since Derwin James.
yeah, and he's not even draft eligible. Like he has to wait. He has to play another year before he can declare. It's crazy. I hope that he is even better at Ohio State than he was at Alabama. He was good.
Will Johnson is up there though. Like he's definitely one of the best cornerbacks in college football for sure. I definitely could see the argument of him being the best. Like, I don't really have anybody that comes to mind when I think of best cornerbacks other than him. And Alabama and a lot of other top schools were willing to pay a lot of money to lure him from Michigan. That says a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the fact that Georgia, I mean, I know they lose guys, but they just churn out defensive players every year. Their defense should be better this year than last year. I agree with what you said about secondary and receiver. I've heard that quarterback is something the staff is looking to add, and as much as I like Alex Orji and the skill set that he brings, I do think that more competition and at least bringing in someone that's proven with a decent ceiling who can stay healthy would be good. Running back is really the only position where I wouldn't welcome a portal addition. We're still very deep there, even though we lost Blake Corum and then CJ Stokes to the portal. D line is probably another position where I wouldn't welcome an addition, but you play more players on any given down on defense at the D line than you do on offense at running back. So I guess we could always use someone there. O line, maybe another tight end along with Colston Loveland. We're 128th in returning production, so we could use
Everything.
guys exactly outside of running back and maybe D line. Everywhere else, like I'd welcome an addition. Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited to see Michigan against Texas, against USC, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State at the end of the year. It'd be really funny to like beat Ryan Day again in like a 20-16 turnover
I
filled.
got a question for you
Yeah.
about Ryan Day.
What?
I really believe that this season is going to be the year that a lot of the fraud coaches in the Big Ten get exposed, mainly Ryan Day and James Franklin being the forefront of the two. Because Dan Lanning, we know he's a guy, a top five coach in college football, no lower than top 10 right now. We know he's going to win. We don't know about Jed Fish. They might get one over on him, but Lincoln Riley, he's one of the best coaches in America despite a down season. The Big Ten has had the luxury of only having to worry about playing three teams that matter. You don't have that
That's
luxury
true.
anymore. Now you actually have a conference where you're not going to face a team in the Big Ten championship that's all defense and no
Oh
offense.
no.
Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, they benefited from this conference being lackluster. Now that you add USC and Oregon to the mix, one of those two coaches is going to get exposed. Who do you think is most likely to be? I think it's going to be Ryan Day, Sam. I really do. Like they say, pressure either burst pipes or makes diamonds. And right now, the pipes keep bursting for Ryan Day. You lose three straight to Michigan. Come on, bro. They should have won that game. Even you know it. That team was much better than Michigan on paper. But yet they still lost that game because of toughness and mindset. And even with the new coach, nothing's going to change because Sherrone Moore didn't. Wasn't he coaching
He
last year
was.
too?
I mean, I disagree that Ohio State was the better team last year, but the prior 2 years, by power rankings and by talent and experience, they were. Like last year, and I said it in the preseason last year, Ryan Day's not winning this game. Like his two chances to win the game were the two prior seasons, and he failed. This Michigan team is a higher ceiling. And I think they proved that with the fact that their coach wasn't there. They had their OC who he's good, but Harbaugh's maybe he adds an extra field goal to the score. And Michigan at times in that game, the quarterback played well, running backs played well against an elite defense, but Michigan's defense did have some uncharacteristic breakdowns. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. is elite. Their receiver core wasn't as good as it was in 22 or 21, and they were finding more holes. Now, some could say that was due to stealing signs, and in that small window, I'm not going to argue that a ton. But, yeah, I mean, I think something that's happened with Day, to partially answer your question, is that he's so concerned with not losing the game that concern is actively causing him to lose the game. And also it's making his offense worse. He has, for 2 years in a row now, tried to run the ball when his team isn't very good at it, and it's much better off just running an air raid. He just can't, which is funny because that's what he did in 21. He commanded one of the few offenses in the country that passed for more than 50% of the time. I don't think he's a fraud. I think Franklin is, but Franklin will probably be there forever. And he's a fraud in big games, outside of big games, which is what
Oh
matters.
yeah,
But
little game James Franklin. We all know about him.
yeah, little and medium game James Franklin always covers the spread. Like spread monster, wins. Just don't look at when he lost to Scott Frost in 2020 and you'll be fine. But Day, I think right now in the Big Ten, it's Day, Jonathan Smith, Lanning, and maybe Luke Fickell are in that tier. Like, I have those coaches, full disclosure, in my top 10. Like, those are Big Ten coaches who I have in my top 10. And Lanning, some will say it's premature, but I think with Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, tutoring him and him recruiting well, and last year's team was dominant. It had the power ranking and the competitive spirit to be a playoff team. And I know they lost to Washington twice, but Washington, while not dominant, they were a master at taking apart any team in the country. But yeah, I think that this season's big for Day. I don't think he's a fraud, but I think that he still needs to improve in other areas. I kind of view him like I viewed Kirby, or like how in retrospect I view Kirby before he won his national titles. And I'm just kind of waiting to see if he'll break through or not. That's just my opinion, though. And in regards to Sherrone Moore, I'm pretty high on him. But again, we'll get into that later. I think Michigan needs a QB. I think they need a receiver or two. That could include a tight end, preferably. An extra offensive lineman would help. And a corner and a safety. I mean, that's right there, 5 or more players. And I do think that Michigan, like Miami, will be a predator in the portal. I think the fact that Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant didn't transfer out when Harbaugh left is probably indicative that they won't transfer out. Thank you so much for watching this episode of College Football with Sam. I appreciate it. And I would appreciate it even more if you were to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on this video down below, hit that big red subscribe button, and also click that notification bell so that your phone, laptop, or whatever device you use can ding or buzz whenever I release new content and notify you about it so that you can watch more videos like this. College Football with Sam is the best Big Ten football channel on YouTube. We're going to be doing a giveaway when we hit 20,000 subscribers, and we're trying to become one of the best, if not the best, college football channels on YouTube. Your support means so much, and to those of you who are subscribed to my Patreon or purchase merchandise from my store, the links to those are down in the description and pinned comment. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to my Patreons. Thanks to Crash2488 for being a Heisman member. Thanks to Spencer Bringhurst, Chris Lane, and Connor Little OH for being All-American members, and thanks to Will Loftus, John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, and Janisha Cockrell for being All-Conference members. Have a great day, guys, and if you're listening on Spotify or any non-YouTube podcast platform, please check the link in the channel description to find my YouTube channel, and if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to check out my Spotify, if you so please. Have a great day, guys, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.